And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda commences tonight's satsang with the Sanskrit peace chant.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We begin with mystic song by Sri Swami Lalitananda, played and sung by Sri Swami Umananda and Rajneesh.
Our song tonight is called Adorations to the Devi.
Adorations to the Supreme Compassionate Devi, who is incomparable in her power. May you bestow good fortune and goodness in the dwellings of your devotees. May you grant us peace and prosperity. Namaste. Again and again, salutations to the Devi. Your exquisite beauty is like the rays of the moon across the far open sea in the night. May you bring us joy and harmony. Namaste. Namaste.
We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is September the 20th, 2020, Sunday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is series 2018, class number 92. And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 9, it is known as Raja Vidya Raja Guhya Yoga, the yoga of royal knowledge and royal secret. The verse number is 13. Mahatmanastu mam partha devim prakritim ashrita bhajantyananya manaso gyatva bhutadi bambhyayam. O Partha, the great souls, Mahatmas, taking refuge in my divine nature, worship me at all times, knowing me to be the imperishable nature of all beings. In the previous verse was told that those people who don't follow the purpose of life, their actions are vain, their expectations are vain, they live in vain. Those people are called Alpatma. It's not a popular word. But when spiritual aspiration has entered the heart of an aspirant, no matter how little it may be, you now move towards becoming a Mahatma, Mahatmana. To understand Mahatmana, what type of attitude Mahatma has, I will turn your attention to Samavrata, given in one of the Vedas and Upanishad. It begins with tapantam na nindyat, tadvratam. If it is too hot, don't live condemning it. Varshantam na nindyat. Too rainy, don't go on condemning it. Ritun na nindyat. Seasons have changed. Don't worry. Don't complain about it. Lokan na nindyat. Do not go on complaining against people. Pashun na nindyat. Do not go on complaining against animals, birds. Sarvam asmiti upasit tavyam. Sarvam asmi iti. All this is I am. That must enter the deep level of your heart. entire dream experience, which has all these varieties, implying in your dream you maybe have hot season, rainy season, you may have inimical people, human beings, inimical animals, all types. But all of that is, who is behind all that? You. First level of understanding, you means one who is on the bed. But even while you are on the bed, this is another long dream process. Even that experience is coming through your brain and your nervous system. So your entire personality in this practical world is kind of iPad. A little bigger eye, that's the iPad we use. And all you are experiencing is based on your nerves and your brain. And behind nerves and brain is your mental energy, mind. So mind that is operating and making all this as if powerfully real. That mind can be Mahatmana, great mind, if you follow this and allow yourself deep in your deeper understanding that you are unaffected by all this that goes on. All this is a kind of a cinema show. But this type of steadiness of vision that I am all this, I am the reality behind all this. This vision requires bhakti, devotion to God. In fact, it requires integration of your personality. And as integration advances, devotion becomes highlighted. That I will explain more and more. So, Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashrita. Daivi prakriti, the great souls taking refuge in my divine nature. Divine nature means taking refuge in divine nature, is dedicating your life to the enrichment by divine virtues, cultivation of divine virtues, known as Daivi Sampat. And in Gita explains the Daivi Sampat, various divine virtues, Abhayam, Sattva, Sanshuddhi, Shama, Dama, all the virtues, humility, absence of anger and hate, all these virtues that imply that you are advancing and you are internally becoming more and more settled. That's called Daivi Sampat. Another name for that is Daivi Prakriti. This entire Daivi Sampat is kind of God enfolding you in the form of virtues. So it is, you are always supported by Prakriti. And this is that aspect of Prakriti, and Prakriti comes from God. Prakriti is the magical power of God. That aspect of Prakriti that enables an aspirant to succeed in developing virtuous qualities, even in challenging situations, staying serene, calm, unagitated, utilizing your reason, living purposefully. If you have all that type of interest in promoting enrichment in yourself, enriched by virtues, you are developing Daivi Prakriti. Another way, Daivi Sampat. So Mahatmana Daivi Prakritim Ashrita Bhajanti Ananya Manaso. Another, live your life dedicated to bhajan. Very ordinary meaning or popular meaning of bhajan is singing the praises of God. All your kirtans, etc. come under bhajan. Broader way, it's not just confined to that. Living your life, glorifying God who is the reality in your personality. Bha is Bhagavan. And bhajan, ja term relates to jakaro janma vicheda. That type of mind's involvement of applauding God, glorifying God, that will lead the soul to be united with God, to be free of the cycle of birth and death. That's bhajan. And also, just to remind you, Bha term relates to 6 great qualities. Bhagavan, Bha, Aishwarya, lordliness, dharma, translated righteousness, but you have to understand dharma in a broad way. Dharma is the foundation of all purposes of your life. Yasha, glory. Shri, divine wealth. Jnana, wisdom. And Vairagya, dispassion. But all these are there in God in infinite measure. Infinite wisdom, infinite Vairagya, infinite treasure, beyond measure. And the next point, Ananya Manaso. Knowing me to be the imperishable nature of all beings. Worship me at all times. All times, how can you worship God? All times. By being involved in integral yoga. Because 4 aspects of your life's movement in daily life, action-based, action, emotion, will and reason. Matching with these 4 are karma yoga, bhakti yoga, dhyana yoga and jnana yoga. turn your whole life, daily life, into a stream of divine worship. That's very great ideal. That ideal is pursued progressively. You need to be nourished by satsanga. Listen to the spiritual teachings again and again. The teaching must allow your mind to understand what does it imply to be devoted to God. Being devoted to God doesn't imply that you work hard and do a lot of austerity to have divine darshan, and you ask according to your interest, not God's interest. If scriptures make it simple to understand, in an ideal setup, devotee has worked, done lot of austerity, and God appears and says, ask any boon, and it will be given to you. Medium class devotee asks a boon. First class devotee simply says, oh God, you know already everything. So just give me what I should be given. In brief, you are asking for being an instrument in divine hands. If you have that type of movement, then you understand the term ananya manaso. Ananya means God alone is, nothing else in this world. Ananya means even though you may be worshipping God in countless ways, God as Krishna, God as Rama, God as Shiva, God as Devi, God as Jesus, God as Buddha. It's all perfectly okay. As long as you know it is one God who is being worshipped through all these. So if you are a worshipper of Rama and you enter into a church and hear all the glorifications of Lord Jesus, don't feel contradicted. The same Rama is being praised. Same God is being praised. If that type of mental set is not easy to have, people have developed that this is my Devata and there some other deity is being praised. So run away from there. I'm talking about very dull-wit state of mind. The ideal state is to have that type of mind, that it is the God who is being praised. And if the God has been brought in your mind as Ishta Devata in any form, Rama, Krishna, Shiva, Buddha, Jesus, whomsoever, Devi, Ganesha, Hanuman, that Ishta Devata is the God. And you must understand the divine family doesn't get upset by that. Think of a cozy family and think of people who come to admire the family, their friends, but sometimes they are admiring the head of the family, sometimes they admire only a grandson, And sometimes it creates kind of dissension. I'm just giving a very crude illustration. The idea is that doesn't apply to God, countless gods. If you rushing for a job and offered prayers, and offered prayers to Ganesha, or you forgot Ganesha, offered a prayer to Rama. There is no contradiction. The same God is being worshipped by no matter which way your mind goes. Another point, according to human psychology, you allow your mind to have variation of taste. The goal is nourishment. When you worship Ganesha in a particular way, it has one particular taste. Shiva in another way, there is another taste. Vishnu, another taste. All these tastes keep your mind more alert and joyous. And thereby, you are becoming more devoted to the Ishta. Ishta is Brahman, God, the Absolute. In 14th verse, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata namastyantascha mam bhaktva nityayukta upasate. Glorifying me at all times. Steadfast in sadhana, with firm resolve. Those souls strive to know me, endowed with devotion. They bow down in adoration to me and worship me. Rajneesh. glorifying me at all times. Let me give you a broad, profounder understanding about it. At all times, if you are involved in practicing integral yoga, integral yoga means all your four aspects are being directed towards, firstly, directed towards integration, harmonization. Suppose there are four chords of music. They must bring out melody. That should be their relationship, not melody. The same four create lots of melodies. The whole world process is a bhava vyadhi. How you act, how you feel, how you will, how you think. All these four are constantly operating in you. But if you are allowing these four to be kind of a melody, not contradicting each other, then you are glorifying God always. Even while you are sleeping, you are doing yoga. Not, it's under the realm of yoga, because sleep is needed as a part of your spiritual movement. Rest is needed. Hunger is needed. Thirst is needed. All these are part of yoga. You struggle and you face your struggle. It's a part of integral yoga. And if you are doing that, then you are glorifying God. How did sages glorify God? How did Jesus glorify God? Even while in crucifixion, that crucifixion became the basis of glorifying God in an amazing way. In brief, when you are practicing integral yoga with a Godward vision, that's your goal, then everything that you do is an act of glorification of God. Naturally, the highlight of this, as you communicate with people, you are inspiring them to follow your illustration. You're inspiring them to also practice devotion to God based on integral progress, integral yoga. Steadfast in sadhana. You have created a plan of your sadhana, spiritual practice. Firstly, create the plan in such a way that it is in accord with the integral plan. Some time to study the scripture, going into Vedanta, sometimes going into love of God expressed by Saint Tulsidas and many devotees, sometimes go into sages who have shown tremendous strength and be inspired by them. So all these are different aspects of yoga, not just one aspect. And you don't have to work hard. Any scripture you choose contains all these four items. Your mind has to be open to it. Another point in steadfastness is just like a tree swings as the wind blows. Swinging is perfectly important for the tree, for its strength. So it's called avastha, a shaking condition, flexibility in condition. If you continue sustained movement, in spite of all the shaking that goes on, you become internally completely rooted in God. If that type of vision is there, then you are endowed with Dridhavrata, the resolve to attain enlightenment. Those souls strive to know me, endowed with devotion. They bow down in adoration to me and worship me. Just let me remind you of, according to the Bhakti Yoga path, you have different steps or different forms of practice. Shravana, listening to the spiritual teachings, listening to the glory of God, listening to kirtans, etc. Shravana. Kirtana, singing. You may not be perfectly recognized by a musician, but don't wait for that. Everyone has sufficient capacity to sing according to what pleases a person. And listen to different types of kirtans. Next one is smarana. Shravana, kirtana, smarana. Smarana is allowing your mind is recollecting so many things. Push your mind to little, recollecting things that you have learned from scriptures. Allow your mind to work upon 7 steps. What are the 7 steps? What are the 4 qualifications? What are the 4 gates? You have a lot of mathematical exercise. What does 18 mean? 108. So I'm making a little humor, but the idea behind it, that's called, you are allowing your mind to work, recollect, and you choose the subjects that you want to recollect, and not just go on recollecting everything that has no purpose in your life. Next term is called Pada Sevan, following the footsteps. Literal meaning is serving the feet. Ritualistically, it's perfectly okay. Everything has its ritual level, where it just relates to even the deity before you, and you are offering prayers and putting charanamrit at the feet of the deity. That's Pada Sevan. You are worshipping the feet. But Pada Sevan, in a broad way, implies following the examples of people. the path that one has followed. Again, it becomes allegorical, that we are showing as if it's a road and somebody is going on it and his steps have made many footprints. And people go after so much, have found the footprints of Rama. That has its own different aspect. That's work of Shraddha, faith. But here the aspect is follow the examples, teachings of others. If you are following the teaching of Buddha, you are following his footsteps. Following the teachings of Krishna, teachings of saints and sages, teachings of those who are advanced, spiritually advanced, you are following the footsteps. Pada Sevan. Vandanam, adoration. Wherever there is godly touch, godly presence, you bow down to it. You adore it. Dasyam, view yourself as an instrument in divine hand. Do not let your ego cloud your mind constantly, because ego constantly pours into your mind so many ideas that this way it shouldn't have happened. What a miserable thing. Locked down for the whole world. So it's ego-based mind. Instead, relax the ego. But God, your mind is only a channel. So, Jahi vidhi rakhe ram. Whichever way God wants to keep his word, let it flow. Let me be his instrument. Always remember, everything is progressive. You do that, and you next day will forget about it. But that doesn't matter. Good things have to be brought into your mind and practiced again and again. Failures should not make you frustrated. Failures don't count. Even a tiny success is like a light coming up against darkness. So it's a powerful development. So that's dasyam. You are a, worldly terms, slave, and God is the master. You are servant. God is the master. Next come to sakhyam. God is your friend. Now you open your heart and feel free to even scold God. Because that's what friends do. You're afraid of your friend. Then what type of friendship is this? And sometimes, but you must understand, not take it so literally as what I am saying. Scolding simply means express your heart, knowing that what you are saying is lies. Oh God, why have you created this misery? Be compassionate. You are Karuna Nidhan. Let me remind you how much compassion you have. So, if that type of attunement with God has developed, it's a powerful progress. But as long as God is always viewed with awe, you are distant. But any step that suits you, that's perfectly good for you. But you must know there are different stages. And final step, Atmanivedan. Your Atma is no longer your Atma. Atma itself is Brahman. So your personality has become as if merged. A river enters the ocean. Now no longer it has its own identity. Ocean has not given a quarter separate for the Ganges and separate for in the ocean. They are all one and the same. Those souls strive to know me, endowed with devotion. They bow down in adoration to me and worship me. Another point here is, as bhakti advances internally, because bhakti is an internal gain. How you love, that's you alone know. Others can't look at it. How many? Is 1 hour, 2 hours? So bhakti is subjective. But more bhakti, greater seva of God in people around you. Along with the bhakti movement, you are adoring God in all names and forms. But adoring God in all names and forms, that doesn't mean that you go after every little thing, even in your own house. You have so many things, you never need to go out anywhere. All the time implying that you come more in contact with human beings, allowing human beings to evolve spiritually, to help them. That's called seva. Bhakti internally, seva outwardly. And that happens spontaneously. But in the beginning, you may hold that mind, keep that intention that you love God by doing certain sadhanas, but at the same time, you supplement that effort by taking advantage of any situation where you can be helpful to others. As well as you can have a Jnana Yajna project. You do certain things that will be helpful to people in any level, but the highest level, biggest help that you can give to the people is dissemination of spiritual knowledge. What will make a person strong in facing challenges, instead of counting challenges and describing them in so many ways and giving a whole story behind one little challenge. On the other hand, what type of mental attitude? First mantra, even this will pass away. Second, that God is with you. Jis jako rakhe saiya. You are being protected by God. You don't have to worry about it. Baal na baka kar sake. No one can touch you. So these points have to be hammered upon the mind again and again. So if you are doing good to others, you hammer on their mind these subtle points that strengthen their inner mind to face the challenges in life. And the climax of all that, sabko sanamati de Bhagavan. So God give right understanding. Simple way of saying purity of intellect. It's the intellect that allows you to understand. And intellect is so much gripped by your egoism, that it does not bring out its real color. That intellect becomes purified as you follow the spiritual paths. It is not intellectual knowledge, it is the profound experience. Fifteenth verse. Jnana yagyena chapanyeya janto mamupasate ekatvena pritatvena bahudha vishwato mukham. Others worship me with jnana yagya in the form of oneness with me, or with a sense of separation, or with the manifold aspect of my beings. Every individual experiences three avastha. Avastha means states that come and go. Shaking movement is avastha of the tree. Being rooted is called sthiti. But in this flexibility of your personality, three forms of flexibility must develop in your personality. Jnana avastha, the understanding all this is Brahman. That's jnana avastha, and you are Brahman essentially. Kriya avastha. Therefore, putting your purushartha, self-effort, in accord with integral yoga, directing your effort to harmonize action, emotion, will and reason. Or put it another way, directing your effort to worship God through your four aspects of your personality. That type of movement is kriya avastha. And this opens your mind to advanced levels of spiritual progress. Your mind opens up to 7 steps: Shubhecha, Vicharana, Tanumanasi, Sattvapatti. That's called Bhava Avastha. You can now create a bhavana of your advanced goal. And with this I'm going to conclude for today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om. Prayer for shower of Karunamaya Ras grace of God over all. And may all of you be blessed with Shakti, strength, Bhakti, devotion, Mukti, liberation. And be rid of death virus forever and for eternity. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukum Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshyamamritat Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.
As we begin this question-answer session, Swamiji, I'd like to read to you two questions that came in floating through the digital ether. First question is from Aaron. What is the story and profound implication of Lord Brahma not being worshipped popularly in idol form as Vishnu and Shiva are worshipped?
There was a time even Brahma was worshipped. And there is probably, in Ajmer, there is a Brahma's temple. But what happened? Just like Indra was worshipped as Brahman in the beginning, those terms as Vedanta, as the spiritual evolution takes place in society. Evolution means how you taught the spirituality at one stage. Same thing you do not teach when people have gone into another stage, grow up. A change occurs. In brief, what I am leading to understand that Brahma has become so popular with creation. So each time you say Brahma, your mind goes into the law of karma, because everything that happens in the world is designed by Brahma's vidhan, Brahma's plan. So, since Brahma has become so charged with karma, people are not advised generally by common sense method. By holding Shiva before you, Vishnu, your mind is not going into a state of conflict or into a state of delusion. Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu, they are not handling karma. They are relieving you from karma. Just like with Indra. Indra relieves you from heavenly state. Heavenly state is celestial pleasure. The role of Indra in the Veda was to relieve you from that and let you go up. And therefore Indra played two roles, Indra and Upendra. Upendra means higher Indra. But as time passed, Indra became more recognized as the source of bhoga, enjoyments. So no longer you worship Indra for attaining Brahman. But that again is not a perfect, absolute reality. If you are very advanced, not only you can attain liberation by worshipping Brahma or Indra, but even by worshipping your mother, your father, your own child. It depends upon what your angle is there internally. God is everywhere. So whom do you choose? Depends upon how advanced you are. But from the point of view of your sadhana aspect, you need to choose that type of deity that matches up with your mind and gives inspiration to your mind. and don't go into this conflict of why that deity is not being worshipped by the masses.
Thank you on behalf of the questioner. And the second question, how do I know if I am making sincere self-efforts that are going to please God?
The very fact that you have asked this question shows your sincerity. If sincerity was there, then we don't need to ask. I am the devotee. I'm doing so much sadhana every day. And of course, you will know your success in your devotion, in your practice, by changes that occur in your understanding, in your personality, in the state of your mind, and the way you handle the problems. All this reflect the change in your personality. And you will know it. If there is change for better, you don't have to ask anybody else. It is swatantra. You know it by your own self. Okay?
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Pranam Gurudev. Gurudev, you mentioned that as the integration advances, the devotion gets highlighted. Can you please explain a little bit more?
Devotion means love. Your personality enjoys and becomes much more steady on the basis of fulfillment of love. What you love and you were fulfilled in it. So, all the integral yoga, if it is promoting that love aspect in your personality, or love aspect is inspiring you to practice integral yoga, then that's the role of bhakti in relation to integral yoga. Bhakti is a part of integral yoga, but it is highlighted, because if that is, you all focus on the fulfillment of your heart's love, and that becomes your focus, then all other sadhanas become so easy. Otherwise you are counting your japa, how many I must go on doing it, and plan for more and more, etc. I'm not underestimating it, but there are different ways to understand. Okay?
Swamiji, please can you elaborate a little bit about the bhava sthiti, which is the last sthiti?
Bhavana sthiti means different things you do in your life and different things you plan. How you will plan to do things, do your projects in your life. That planning movement in your life, are you going to put the ducks together? That's called bhavana. Simple way, putting the ducks together. Okay.
And we conclude for tonight and rejoin Swamiji on Tuesday night at 7:30.